to do something, they would say, well, you have to, can only have this amount of space or whatever. We won't be stuck with that snafu. So that's why I think it's a great idea to do it in Vegas. So the thing is we want this, the main thing is it needs to be entertaining, is because people are there to be entertained, right? And then we also want to be kind of an edifying education, not like a preachy education about sales pitchy or anything like that. It's going to be very much, I mean, if I can just tell you a few minutes of what I would say if I was up there, I'll just do like a 2-minute beginning, and you guys give me some input. But our country's divided. There's a lot of contention. There's a lot of problems, and lucky for me, and I think lucky for everyone else on this call, is that I learned not to focus on problems. I looked at problems and I compartmentalized them, and then I laser focus on the solution. And the solution, and I learned this at a really young age. I learned it when I was at 5, when I found a pack of coyotes to my left, and I was alone on a highway by myself. And I figured out that if I focused on solutions, that the daunting tasks don't distract me, and we can stay focused on the solutions. And the solutions that we at Regenerative are doing as a collaborative developers. We're developers of collaboration and sustainable living. And the solutions we come up with are not just about sustainable living in sticks and mortar. We're talking about sustainability in an ecosystem, because there's such a dysfunction in our broken system right now, and we all know that. I mean, we can look around. It's not like it's a glaring like there's any surprise here. But the solutions we're coming up with, and we invite everyone to come to we want them to come to our booth that we have afterwards, and come meet with us, and come to our Zoom meetings and talk with us, and present their economically and environmentally friendly ideas, because we believe that together we can solve any problem. But the first thing which I love about this group, and I think is Let Freedom Ring, is about being first of all, not getting so caught up in our own pride that we have to fight, because we know how to buck. I think everybody on this call knows how to buck, and I mean, I'm a pretty good bucker. I can buck with that stuff. I don't know if I should say that word or not, but I can buck. I mean, if I had to, but I don't really think that we need to buck. I think that once we realize our pride has created this reality of contention and competition and scarcity, once we realize that, and we then come back to being more, and I don't know if I should use the word repentant, because or mournful, that makes people feel like, I'm going to get up there and preach. But I think we have to come back and figure out what's wrong in our own backyard first. And when we start to focus on what we can do individually and collectively, then we come together as a tribe. And that's what Regenerative is all about. It's about bringing people together, and Local Sparks is the for-profit that we're doing this crowdfunding for, that brings people forward. And our solutions really do address $100 billion problem, which is affordable housing, shortage in food and water, and power. The grid security system is poorly lacking, and we also have solutions that we believe transparently we can bring media and truth together, and then we can start making educated decisions as a group. So that is basically what I will invite everyone to come over and speak. And I want people at the booth that are going to be there. And if we have more time, each time they do a set change, I will come up and present, or we will come up and present solutions. And it's not, like I said, it's not just about a sustainable community. It's about being emergency prepared, emotionally intelligent, having health and wellness in our homes and in our communities. So we're going to give little snippets of all of these solutions as we go. And I also will say to them, we are going to have a virtual reality symposium in November, and we will be showcasing some of these solutions. But if you want to come see some of the properties that we're working on right now, I'd invite you to come over to the booth, and there'll be glasses there, and first come, first serve. We're going to show people around what we're doing. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Good, very good.
Awesome.
Sounds good. And you said
not too preachy?
No,
Not at
not
all.
at all.
No.
And you said what's the new date? October
October the 23rd. It's a
3rd,
Saturday. It's a
Saturday, okay.
Saturday. Yeah.
Wait, so
They
we're
moved it
moving
from
from
the
November to October?
No. Sorry, David, you missed a couple days, so a couple weeks. So we got to keep, like I said, things move so fast in this group. October the 23rd is a festival that we're going to be, Regenerative is going to be help sponsoring.
Okay, just
And
a
will be,
prelim,
pardon me?
a preliminary. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a music festival. So there's going to be 4 musicians on stage, and in between their set changes, we will have an opportunity to present 10-20 minute snippets of what we're going to do. But it's not a sales pitch. What it is it's empowering, and people don't want to come there and feel like they're being preached to. They're coming there for music. But when we come up, and so it has to be entertaining. And so, I'm not going to get out there and be on a song and dance, or I don't want anyone to think that you have to be entertaining and bring showgirl
That's why we have
outfits or
Barry.
anything.
Barry can do the dancing.
Yeah, Barry. I'll put tassels on Barry. You can use the pasties.
I did have
but-
an idea. Sorry, were you done?
Yeah, go ahead. No, I was just explaining it to David. So David, if anybody else wants to explain it to David, that would be better.
No,
'cause
I
I'd
got
like
it.
to hear-
I got it.
Okay. And then on November 3rd is when we are going to have a symposium, but it's an ongoing symposium. So the November 3rd is where we'll be showcasing, inviting people. We want them to come to the symposium, but if they miss it, we'll be, and Todd, I need you to speak up on this one.
Sure.
Is we will be having this 24/7. So you can go in, and there'll be a place where, whether you have a laptop and you want to come in and see the properties, you can. It won't be the same experience that you'll see when you have a virtual reality glasses on. But if you can see what we're doing, and everything that we're going to be doing is going to be recorded and taped, so that they can watch our documentary as it unfolds.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, the event I would call that a hybrid event. So it'll be
Hybrid.
live.
Yeah.
And the real reality. But the people who can't attend can go into that virtual world and sit down and look up at a live feed if we can pull that off. But
Yeah.
a lot of it, may be recorded. So it'll be hybrid, not with Zoom. It'll be hybrid in person and in a VR environment. But that environment will be ongoing, this virtual reality world. So people can come in and actually come there anytime.
Yeah.
And watch the videos and sit down and enjoy it, or learn how all the innovations work.
Right. So Shannon reached out to me, Jason, from the UNLV, and asked if we were still wanting that the theater. And I said, well, do you have an outdoor venue? And I haven't heard back from her. But if once the people at Craig Ranch hear what we're trying to do, it might behoove us to strike a really good deal with them and just say,
None of the outdoor venues that we have at the university.
What was that?
None of the outdoor venues at the university
Yeah.
are going to be better than Craig Ranch. Craig
So
Ranch
I'm
is
thinking that, if UNLV doesn't have something, we might move it to Craig Ranch and just tell everyone at the festival, come on back here in 2 weeks. And if you like what we're seeing on the stage right now, and we're going to have some music too. So I'm going to see if we can get some other celebrities. Like I said, Gladys Knight, Celine Dion. I would need to get these people engaged right now. But they've been slow to not return my calls, but to make a commitment, because they're not sure if they can perform because of having contracts with other venues, casinos. So if anybody knows a celebrity, and I actually have a couple of other people that I know as well, anybody that knows anybody that has a band that would like to perform, let's pool our resources and see what we can come up with.
Rosalie,
Yeah.
what caliber of musicians are you looking for? Someone that's well known and popular now, or just a
That
good
would be the
musician?
best. That would be the best,
Okay.
because that's how Freedom Ring is going to explode here, and they've asked us to go on tour with them as well. So this isn't a one and done. They've got 90 tours that they're booking. So this would be all around the country and maybe around the globe as well. I think they're not going to just limit it to the United States.
I just want to ask, I'm friends with Lester Abrams, who he has a small jazz rock group
Yeah.
that did a short stint with the Doobie Brothers.
Great.
And then I have another friend who's a jazz singer she's launching her singing. She's been into music, but she's launching a career. She would not have a name, but I'm sure she's looking for places to perform.
Right. And Vegas is, a great place to get
Yeah.
into. And then when they
Yeah.
get there, we may even have additional venues that are on the strip or on Main Street that they can do their, 30-minute kind of gig. So how I'd like to see it is 30 minutes of entertainment, 20 minutes of a speaking kind of symposium while they're setting up the next entertainment. So it's really a nonstop type of thing. And that's how I'd like to see it. And then so there's a lot of action constantly
Mhm.
going on. And so we can say to the people, if you like what we're saying here, come on back in 2 weeks and we'll have some more music and we'll have some more question and answer panels here. And we'll take, questions. I'm not going to take questions from the audience. Like they're not going to come up and ask on a mic. I don't think that's a good idea to start with. See how it goes. But I think having them write them down and have a moderator. So say, put your questions right here and then say, Barry, you're the moderator. So then you would read the question and then say, David and Tom and Gail and Jason are on the subject panel. Then they will answer the questions. So you're moderating so that we can keep control of what's, a little bit of what's going on. Does anybody have any comments about anything about what I've talked about or suggestions?
I did. Nobody else did. I know. Is it an all-day event? I'm assuming, like from 8 to 10 p.m. at night, or is it just evening?
Just right now, we're starting at 10. It's 10 in the morning on a Saturday, usually after soccer and stuff. And then we're planning to go till 10 at night, depending on how well received this is. I want to be able to have enough space, but you hire for lighting one day, it doesn't matter. It's a 24-hour period. So if we wanted to bump it up to 8 o'clock, and push it all the way to midnight, if we needed to, we could.
Okay.
So
We could start at 6 if we wanted to do people to show up at meditation too, Gwen. I mean, you do some really cool, things as well. So love your braids, by the way.
Thank you, Pippi Longstocking. So also I have I'm not going to say, there's a ton of bands here in Tahoe that are fantastic, that I'm friends with. But as far as people that have like a broader following, there's a woman, Ayla Nerio, but her music is very etheric. I'll send you her music and you'll see if it'll.
Well, here's what I think, guys, and I'll get your opinion on this. Why not have jazz and reggae and a screamo band and and country western? I think you need that smorgasbord of type of music. It's 30 minutes. You can sit through 30 minutes, and it'll give them exposure. I like the etheric music.
Yeah, and her lyrics are all about like, you'll get the water, I'll get the stone, we'll build the future together. There's no baby anywhere.
I love it.
Yeah,
Love it.
I'll reach out to her.
Yeah, I have about 4 of those as well that I was at that Free and Equal. They have and they offered the band that you and I were dancing to, Joe.
Delicious.
Yeah, Athalicious. They want to be there, so they want
That's great.
Yeah, so they're excited. So yeah, I think having it in Vegas. And then, so David, it's not that we're not doing it in Sedona. We would still like to showcase that area. And Gail, you guys have some properties that you want to develop and showcase. And I know Matthew's got some as well. So we can showcase those areas, but I think having an easier place for everyone to fly into, one place where we only have to pay one stage setup, it makes costs a lot less. So what's your, I know you've missed a couple weeks, but what do you think?
No, I think it's terrific. It's a perfect setup, and doing the music festival as a prelim notification to people is awesome. That's a great idea. That'll help us get the numbers up for November. At that time, I will be in Nicaragua. I won't be in the US.
Is there any way
So,
to live stream so we could actually see some of the land and show some of the property that's over there?
oh, while I'm away?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do a video beforehand, but live streaming is not going to happen here.
Okay.
I mean, there's nobody to do it, you know. And the person who owns the property would not be interested. They're not technologically inclined at all.
Okay.
So yeah, well, I'd have to do another better video beforehand. So it wouldn't be a live stream, but we could simulate like a live stream, you know.
Yeah. It's bright out
So-
here, guys. Sorry, I don't want me to.
But yeah, I'll be leaving for Nika about the second week of October.
Okay. Well, that's my 2 bits. Does anyone else have, is Grant on the call? I'm not sure if he's on the call or not.
I didn't see him.
Yeah, we talked yesterday, so we're moving forward. He's worked, we need to get that one pager I sent over, Gwendolyn, we need to get that over to the Planning and Zoning Commission at least. I put some bullet points on there. I'm sure that it needs to be amended, but that needs to get done pretty quick. Jason and I are working on a project that would be another thing that we would talk about just in passing. And then as it starts to evolve, which is that SkyTrain, we would talk more about that once we get more comfortable that it's a viable option. Gail's got some plan that they're doing and that I just got some information about that seems right in line with what we're doing. You know, Barry and Gina, you guys are both, and Brian, you guys all have some really stellar health, wellness, and, you know, emotional intelligence components that you can bring forward and talk about. And then Dan, you guys don't know Dan, he's over here to the left. His thing says my Annie, which I think is his Italian something in Italian, but he's an emergency prepared, like knows anything that we need to know about emergency prepared. He's our guy. So he's completely in the loop on that. And he's an expert. He's an expert, and he will be involved in these communities. And Todd, you know, you're the virtual reality guy, and David as well. You've got the capability of organization, and also with you know, your ideas of your NICA. And then Alberto, he's in the oil and gas industry and has been, you know, here's the thing. And Les is also he's involved in some higher thinking, evolutionary, let's say, transformational technology that we're dealing with. You know, when you keep coming back to the group and we can see there's a consistency, it's, you know, it's slow and steady. So, you know, I don't know that I feel edified when I leave these calls. It's worth my 30 minutes. It really is. I always have a better, like, oh, we're really moving forward on this. So I hope you guys feel the same. And if there's anything else that you guys want to talk about, but I think that's all I have to say, and the floor is up to you and whatever you guys want to talk about.
Did you want to come up with or send us all like a default kind of a program schedule for November 3rd? So who's going to speak, what, when, timeline, and all that jazz?
How about if I do a
Or did you-
timeline for everything from today, what my timeline is from
That would be helpful.
this, yeah, from this week, what is the next, you know, so we can kind of see the marching orders and how it's gonna, and then it might, you know, everyone please be flexible. We're all, you know, doing this the best we can. And, you know, I think the main thing is we need to get videos over to, I sent you, I don't know if you did my avatar yet, if, Tom, when I
Not yet,
sent you,
it's
Todd,
coming.
sorry.
Not yet.
Yeah,
Just coming.
but you know, we just need to start moving forward with some of the solutions and start putting, like David said, take a stake and put it in the ground, and then move forward from there. And just, it's just video, you know, transparency. Transparency is really the key here, because even if we make a misstep, it's about on accident, and we can just apologize and then keep moving forward. It's, you know, but it's when when everything's, we pretend to be something we're not, and then it doesn't work out, then it looks like we tried to
Right.
to sell something that, you know, wasn't viable. But everything that we're talking about is viable. So I'll get the timeline done, and I'm still working on the working agreement. I sent it out, but it hasn't. Gwendolyn, I got your notes back, but so those, David, did I get your notes back on that working agreement?
No, I'm not yet.
Okay, I just need, it's just a very basic template. It's not something that, you know, it's all knowing. It's just, this is what we're going to operate on, is that you have to give at least 5 hours a week so that we can start keeping track of who is getting profit sharing.
Mhm,
And when
mhm.
you keep track of the efforts, when there is profit, then everyone will be compensated who's been doing the work, not everybody in the group. You know, that's the whole point, is we're trying to show that this service economy has validity and works, but there's no free lunch. Nobody gets a profit just for having cute feet and cute ear,
Mhm.
right?
Rosalie, you asked me to mention about teaching next week and
Gina,
what time
yes,
works for folks.
Yep. We sent out a thing. She's got a really great program, you guys. I haven't done the whole thing, but I looked at what kind of if what you can deliver, what you ask me, you can deliver, that clarification would be really nice. And I think everyone, maybe we could set some time and make a commitment. Is Sundays better to do this? It's an hour. Is it an hour? How long would you need from us?
Well, yeah, that's what you asked me to put something together for an hour. So that's where it stands right now. Yeah.
Is anybody, I'm gonna do it. Is anybody else interested in a guided meditation to get you to your transformational purpose
Okay.
in life, basically?
That's what I was just going to ask. What is it all about? Yes, I would be. Sunday's not the best, but I'm interested. I would move things, move things around. I'm busy with my church every Sunday
Tina, why don't you
morning.
take 5 minutes and just give us a really quick, so we know what we're committing to.
Sure, no problem. I have to find the email I sent you, Rosalie, with that description. But basically, it's called 5 Brain Yoga and Better You, Better World. And the idea is that in order to create a better world, we have to put on our own oxygen mask and do our work. And then that serves as a springboard to change the world and create the new earth. And I'd love to read you the description that I wrote. It's better than me sort of.
Just tell us,
Here we
really
go.
from
Here we
the,
go.
shoot from the hip.
So, okay, this is what I sent you. So, 5 Brain Yoga, integrates the most recent neuroscience discoveries with humane education, yoga poses, breath and meditation, conscious movement, and energy resets / trauma release, resulting in a powerful and effective yoga flow designed to align and integrate the head, heart, gut, fascia, and other organs. The benefits of this work are numerous, and it can create healthy communities by showing people how to heal and connect and ground. And for this group in particular, I thought it would be kind of neat to bring in something around how to protect yourself from all the stuff that's going on in the world, whether it's proteins or whatever, just like how do you protect yourself from the stuff kind of swirling. And it's set to music, and it's really profound. I have a template, or like a writing process that people go through. They fill out a couple of or answer a couple of the questions before the movement practice, as I guide them through, get clarity, and then finish out with ending with the biggest small step each of us is willing to take to get us on the path to our goal, ultimately changing our reality.
Any questions?
Oh, awesome.
what's what's the first word of you said something brain meditation?
5.
Or yoga? Vibe. Oh,
5.
5.
There's,
5.
yeah. There's more than 5 brains in the body, but you gotta hone it in at some point.
Right, right.
Even her questions that she sent me some questions to reflect on and to think about. And, that really gave me some clarity. Same thing with what Brian does. Brian's an amazing guide in trying to help you figure out what's your why and what's the next steps. Super good at that. Great. So anytime that we can do these things together and, he can do kind of an instructional thing. And we
Sorry,
can,
Rosalie, your camera froze when you said, try to figure out what's your, and it sounded like you said wall about, but I couldn't understand.
what's
'cause
your
camera
purpose?
froze.
Like, what's your transformational purpose here? Like both of these guys, both of them have the ability to get us to where we can up level each other, but we're real clear. It gets a real clear, what they've done with me is they've gotten it real clear of what's my next steps. So just her questions brought me to a clarity, and same thing with Brian, brings me to a clarity of, oh, how easy is that's going to be? Like it's not a daunting task anymore. So, that's what I said. I think, and I know everybody, you, Gwen, you have a practice, I think just taking an hour and dedicating it. And if it's not something that we resonate with, it's no harm, no foul. It's not something we would present. I mean, we couldn't do this on an hour stage. I can't have an hour. I mean, we could if it was just a yoga class and we had a music festival and it was a yoga festival, that would be a different story. But at this symposium you're going to get 20 minutes. To get
Yeah,
people
so in that case, then I'd rather do a mock-up.
20 minutes.
That's 20
Let's do
minutes.
that then. Let's do a 20 minute. Let's do a 20 minute. This is what she would do. And is it something that we feel we want to put our name behind? And this is part of our regenerative movement, this is 20 minutes of edification and entertainment. So how's that sound? Does that make more sense to everyone? I vote the 20
It does.
minute.
Yeah, totally.
Is there anybody opposed to that? No? Okay. So Gina,
Would next Thursday morning work for anybody? Thursday or Friday morning?
is anybody available to do 20 minutes right before this Zoom meeting? Could we get on at 11:30? Is anybody opposed to doing it at 11:30? We take a 10-minute break and then we get back on this call.
That
That's a
sounds
good
good.
idea. That's a good
Alright.
idea.
Good
idea. That works.
Okay, so at 11:30 we start, and I'll send this out in the thing. 11:30 we start. Anybody that wants to come early, come to this Zoom link, and then we'll take 10 minutes, go to the bathroom, get your food, come back at 12 o'clock. We need to move forward with our normal meeting, and then if we have more time, we'll discuss what all came about through that 20-minute. How's that sound?
Yeah, sounds great.
Yep.
Thank you.
Sounds like a
Okay.
plan.
Start every meeting that way.
Okay, sounds good. And Brian and Barry and Gwen, I know, and David, you guys all have, and Gail, I think everybody here has some form of meditation that they could do a 20-minute little precursor for anyone that wants to show up. Barry, you do that in your group. Sometimes I've noticed you kind of get together and before your mastermind, you have a little networking
Right.
thing going on. And
Right. And I could in 20 minutes give an overview of the Brain Revolution program I'm doing with Amen Clinics, and also the stem cell technology, the stem cell nutrition technology.
hey, by the way, can I take those stem cell, can I open those capsules and just stick them in my vestibule and my gum and let them go right into my bloodstream, or do they need to go into the stomach?
That's a good question. Let me check on that. I
Okay.
think you can.
Okay.
I know you can break them apart and put them in smoothies or juice if you like.
Yeah. Well,
If
I like
swallowing-
sometimes just to let them sit in my mouth.
Yeah.
Because I know they're nasty tasting, but then I feel like they get
Well, they-
right into my bloodstream.
They taste like algae and mushrooms.
Yeah, I know. Yum.
Let me
Oh, that
check
sounds
on
so
that.
good.
That I think that would work. It's probably
Okay.
a good idea. Okay.
Okay.
And
All right. Anybody else?
Rosalie, one other thing, can the document that I sent you, can you get it to the group?
I'm going to
for
send that out if it's
Thursday?
okay. If it's okay, I'm just going to send it as a PDF with the email, and I'll send it out the email, and I'll send it
Okay.
out by I'll send it out this week. I'll send it out tomorrow, and then I'll remind everybody again about it. So
Yeah.
if you
And you
could get
don't,
back
you don't
your-
have to fill it out before you come. You don't have
Right.
to take, yeah.
Right, that's just something to be aware of, that
Yeah.
this is the information that'll come to us and answer in this meditation,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
exactly.
So, Rosalie, if you were to give me 20 minutes on stage, I probably would just do a message straight from spirit to the crowd of what their higher selves are wanting to say. That's probably what I would do.
So what I think that we need to do, because this is a game, you know, this is a game we're playing, we're a team. And I think we need to put our our best foot forward, because we're going to get on a stage and we need to have the most edifying, educational information, so people get hooked to coming to our group to say, wow, these guys, so we need to pick as a group the best
Yeah. Which is what I just said.
performance for the first 20 minutes, so let's do that. If everyone wants to, I think, and I don't need to make that decision. We don't need to make the decision on who's going to be the first or who's going to be up there until the week right before. So we have some time to figure out how and what would be presented to this group of people.
Yeah.
I did mine this morning. That's all I would do. That's all you would hear me say is about a little bit about regenerative, a little bit about this dysfunction, a little bit about local sparks, come to our symposium, period. That's all I would say. It would be a 10 minute, 15 minute, and getting them to want more. I'm not going to be able to explain everything that we're doing in 20 minutes, so it's a waste of time, but getting those people, because I talked to some people yesterday about some stuff, and it's amazing when you're ready to hear what we're talking about, their heads just turn and they are just laser focused on what you're saying. But there's some people that are not willing or able to hear what we're saying. They're not at that place, and they kind of just wander off and they don't get how empowering what we're doing is. And that's okay. I don't want to waste my time trying to convince them or trying to, they're not ready. They're not ready to hear what we're doing, and that's fine. But when they see it, that'll be a different story.
And that's why I liked your speech you gave to us. Is that it kind of attracts those kind of people.
Mhm.
Let's build this back together.
Yeah.
I loved your word scarcity. And that
Yeah.
might make sense for a lot of people. We're just, everybody wants to try something new and innovate. What's something new? And it's just not working. It's broken. It
Yeah.
resonates. I think it lands.
Mhm.
Not with everybody, but with
some
people we're
people-
trying to find.
Some people are just fixated on the problem. That's all they want to do. They just want to complain and they want to be angry, and that's
Or
okay.
me. It's all
Yeah,
about me.
And,
Me, me,
and
me, me.
I'm okay with that, to tell you the truth. It doesn't, that's
Right.
them. That's not my monkey on my back, and I don't have to change it. And I think, David, you taught me that, or
And there's no
Brian.
judgment. They're in the right place. They're having the perfect experience for them at that time. And they'll be along, they'll get it someday, and it doesn't matter when, because time is not real. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, free yourself
Yeah.
of all that.
Yeah.
And this is super critical right now to have that kind of thinking, because the world is changing very quickly. And I don't know how many of the rest of you are following what's really going on, but I've gone very deep on it. And we have a very short window
I think I have.
when potentially things are going to start falling apart. So having that consciousness that we just need to move forward no matter what is happening around us, and have the focus and the vision for everything that we're talking about is super key important.
I
So-
second that. Good work. Yep.
And I was on a very, very empowering call yesterday, and with David, this guy had rocked my world. And what he said is that what we're doing, we're not desperate. We're not desperate to get it out there to as many people as we can, because it's perfect right where we're at.
Mhm.
And we don't even have to worry, not even give another second thought of all of the stuff that's crumbling around, because it's not our problem and it's not our reality, and we
Right.
don't have to focus. So even though you said what you said, and I agree, and I was like, well, wait a second, I mean, how can you bury your head in the sand? But the reality is, if we just, when we go to what you just said, there's a part of our brain that then says there's an urgency that is almost a survival technique, but we
Mhm.
have to transform above that and think all is well. all is well. And
We
Right, there's an
create
old-
what we
constantly,
focus on. We create what we
Perfect.
focus on.
yeah,
There's an old saying, anyway, it goes along the line, if you're running an organization, typically it's with churches these days, and the church is really focused on the right things, and they're not getting involved in things other than the deep spiritual consciousness. If that church members begin to fall apart, if the church begins to fall apart, you don't deviate from your course, you let the church fall apart, but you within your own consciousness remain centered on the truth and the practice that you have, again, regardless of what's going on around you. And that's what we're seeing right now in the world today. And this group right now is focused on solutions and not what's happening with all the leaders that are screwing things up, et cetera, et cetera. We can go into how bad it could potentially be, but we need to focus here, us, on the solutions. And that's the critical part.
you guys have heard me say this. I've
Good
got
stuff.
my head in the clouds and my nose to the grindstone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not getting distracted by all the drama. And I admonish us always to say that, even with some personal stuff that's happening in my life, I just am not going to get distracted by it.
And Rosalie, I want to say how much I enjoyed your talk. It was brilliant. It wasn't preachy in any way. And I just really love how quickly I see your mind work in towards solutions and taking every situation and what's the solution? What's the solution? What's the solution? Even
No.
right here in this meeting. So
You know, if I
thank you.
had, yeah, well, you're welcome. And if we had a flow chart and I went through and I showed the flow chart of how all of us are working together and how all this is going to work out, there isn't anything that we haven't thought of that we can't solve. And if there is, by the time it gets to that big of a problem, we'll be able to solve it. Anyway, we're going to